This is usually when I ask him what we're talking about today, but he told me already and I already forgot, so.
It's okay. I lower my expectations when it comes down to it.
One straight strike. Downswing, and that's 8 Ks for Masterson. He's Iron Mike right now throwing strikes. He has struck out 8. He is now retired
7. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Justin Masterson Show. I'm your host, Justin Masterson, but it's not just me. I got my guy, Mr. Matthew Zappizzotti, always in the house. But it's not just the two of us.
What?
We got some special guests today. We have Paul and Tanya Condry in the house. You see Paul right there hanging out, longtime friend, listener of the show, and his wife is here too, so we're super excited for that. Well, first we'll get into Paul. You're here. We appreciate you being here. And if you want to know, a little bit about Paul, there's so many things you can say. One, he's a dear friend of mine, and ever since I met him at Bethel College back in 2003, 4-ish, we've been friends ever since on my journey to San Diego State and the Cape and pro ball, and we'll probably get into that, a little bit. But we're also don't lose us. We're still working through some of our laws of that Frank has given us. But I want to give you a sense, Paul, there's a million accolades that we could put on him. He's been doing radio and impacting lives since, before I was even born.
But we got my 5th decade right now. Put that in perspective. 5th decade of doing this. Crazy to think about that.
It is. And you're the founder of Regional Radio Sports Network. You got, publisher of the Indiana Football Digest.
Largest magazine in the country of its kind.
Yeah, which is, it is like actually
largest.
Pretty impressive. And then you got the program director of the Gritties, which are the awards for football. The football players. I went to one of the.
There.
Yeah,
you had a chance to be the guy who gave our opening prayer. It was awesome having you there. Tom Allen was there as the head coach when he was the coach at Indiana. That was awesome having you both there. Two brothers in the Lord. That was one of the highlights of doing that program. And I've been blessed. This is my 26th year working for the Colts as the Colts Coach of the Week coordinator and working with some of the initiatives that through the National Football League. And it's been a blast. But some of my greatest experiences in doing this job is getting to watch you and Matthew kind of grow up. And I love getting together with you guys and hamming it up because I was so young in my quote unquote craft at that point in time. Right. And I know we're probably going to go down this rabbit trail, but
that's right.
To my knowledge, your first broadcast behind the mic, I'm guessing, was with me on the second end of a doubleheader. You would pitch the first game, and Seth said, well, he's not going to do anything. So I said, can I have Justin come up and be my color commentator for game number 2? So he came up, and he was my broadcast color commentator. And we had such a great time, and that just kind of solidified some of that early friendship. But watching you guys play, and I heard your story the other day about Marcel Guevara on the last program. There are so many names from the past that brings back so many amazing memories. But it's so many amazing memories because you guys were just still in your youth and you were still trying to figure out life. Now I get a chance and so blessed to be able to look back. And now I see the men that you have become and the impact that you're having in your respective communities and in your families. And I can see how God is really using every aspect of what you guys do, whether it be with the podcast or with your ministry. And I just think it's one of the greatest things in the world to see the whole trip, if you will.
Yeah.
They say it's a long, strange trip it's been. Well, it's been awesome watching you guys grow up. So just to be with you guys today, it's really, I know this is going to sound crazy. It's going to be one of the highlights of the year for me because it really, really is, because I can let my hair down, if you will.
Yes, you can.
I can let my hair down and just have some fun with you guys. So it's awesome.
I don't think you had that big old beard back.
No, I did not.
Either.
And there's a story behind that too. So, but we'll get to that at another time.
No, it is neat that you're able to be here and we spent some time, but you also gave us opportunities. Like even back in the day, like here's this, big tall Jamaican, that you're just like, come on, come hang out with me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat, even if you were early, on in some things. We were early on.
You were 19 years old, I think, at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a young puppy coming through, just having a good old time then. And the crazy thing is, it still hasn't changed. Like we're still having great times together throughout the years. And so I'm appreciative of it and glad to have you, here on the show. But before we do move anymore, we do have to make sure we get in our part of It's All Part of It.
It's all part of it, brought to you by the Justin Masterson Show.
And so for those who don't know, It's All Part of It is the phrase that we utilize just to say something crazy happens, something goes, and we just look at it and say it's all part of it, because it just calms us down, keeps us in a good spot to know that everything's not going to go perfect. I just heard, I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I don't know if it was the Vikings coach or somebody, when they came off at halftime, they gave this like, well, I think they were struggling or they weren't doing as well. I think it might have been tied. And he said, well, we were trying to do some stuff, but it's all part of it. And I was like, yes, it is all part of it. See, it's not just me. Other people have it. Of course, I didn't come up with it, but I am championing the phrase as best I can to push us through. And so for this one, it actually happened last week, Zap. We were at a gala.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd come back to this story.
Yeah, I figured we'd come back to it. So we were at a gala, and it was for Central Christian Academy, a nice small public or private Christian school in Indianapolis, and 100% I read, in case you're wondering, which you don't know what that means.
They're like the most successful school in,
I don't know if I know what it means
in
either.
Marion County or something.
Yeah.
They're this tiny little army of, I don't know, 25 staff or something.
Yeah, they had
It's just
43
crazy.
cents in their bank account 4 or 5 years ago. And now they are thriving in many ways, trying to grow and build. And so a friend of ours, friend of the show, Steve Hawker, used to be on Moody Radio, and he, connection with them, brought kind of both of us in. And I was the keynote speaker, if you will, for their little gala, which was fundraising-ish, but also to lift the spirits of their teachers. So I was trying to give a nice little talk of encouragement for what the teachers are doing, coming from, my mom teaches, my sister teaches, dad technically teaches. I got some uncles in that world too, and cousins who are all, teaching some people. And so it was at Ruth Chris. But what they forgot, and I didn't necessarily ask any more questions, is that there are 2 Ruth Chris in the Indianapolis area. There's one downtown in the heart of it all,
Which is closer to the school.
Yeah. And then there is one, a little on the outer belt, actually not too far from where we are here in the studio, at Keystone and 465. And it just happens that I, in my head, assumed that we were going downtown. And so I was excited to be on time, and I get downtown and I walk up to the lady and was like, hey, I'm here for an event. She's like, oh, what's the name? And I say, CCA. And she's like, well, we don't have that event here. It's probably at the other one. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Started at 5:30 or whatever, and it was 5:30. I go, oh boy. I'm like, well, this can't be too far. Well, it's 30 minutes away to get to the next one. And so I'm texting Steve going like, where are we supposed to be at? And he's like, Ruth Chris. I'm like, well, I was just at the wrong one. And then he felt bad because he thought, he led me astray. And I was like, no. This is on me, my friend. But hopefully I can get back on time. And thankfully.
Well, you gave a great speech in the end, and nobody even noticed. Like, nobody even cared you were late. And then I know the whole time you were like, I'm going to use this as a joke.
I was.
And then he reads his script, he does his speech, whatever. And then what happened?
Oh, then I totally forgot to utilize it. And because we were talking about, the idea that, the world might try and dictate your start, but God is the author of your finish. And
perfect setup.
It was, because it'd be like, I started at the wrong one, but then I made it to the right one.
So afterwards he sat down and he's like, well, forgot that. I guess going to be on the show. It's all part of it. All right, here we go.
It is all part of it. But it's so neat. So
I'm glad you came to the right studio today.
That's because of Tanya Condry. She's my handler. Right?
Yeah.
would be nowhere without her. Make no mistake about that. I can't take credit for that, guys.
Oh, and that is great. How long have you been? How long have you and Tanya been together?
I don't know the answer to that question. Is that a trick question?
I wasn't trying to trick you on that one. That was for Tanya.
30, 32, 33, 34 years, something to that effect. It's over 30, I know that. Right? 32 years.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, we've
The football book, and we're working on number 34. So I correlate everything to the amount of years that we're doing. Well, it was so-and-so was playing during this time. Oh yeah, that was that. So everything's relatable to, and once again, as a business owner, you kind of understand that because everything revolves around your business, which is not necessarily good in regards to, because it's hard as a business owner and to turn off the switch. This is one of the things that we really struggle with. And I think, especially later on in my career, I'm 69 now, but I would say when I hit around the 60 mark, I really made an emphasis on the importance of the Sabbath and making sure that we stopped. We didn't work on the Sabbath unless it was something that was absolutely positively I had to do. And there's a couple Colts things that I have to do that I have to work on Sunday because we use Sunday as our Sabbath. And so one of the things that I've really made a strong emphasis in the latter stages of my life is to be really intentional about shutting off the phone, not, just I don't want to talk about my work. That's the Lord's day. I want that day to be about Him. And so that's something that I would encourage anybody that you have to have that. I mean, I think the Lord is pretty intentional about that is, taking that 24-hour period. And I know that since I've started doing that, I think my life has been really blessed because allocating that time for Him, that one day for Him is really, really kind of grounded things for me a lot better. Because when you're running two separate businesses, it's hard to, there's just 100,000 things going on simultaneously with so many different people and whatnot. So,
what led you to even have that idea of starting that when you turned 60?
I don't know, Justin. I just think it's the natural progression of just listen. I need to get balance. And one of the things, and I was going to share this with you guys because it's about the beard. Okay, so the beard is 840 days old today. Now it's not as nicely groomed, it doesn't look as sharp. But one of the things that Tiny mentioned when we were watching the podcast the other day together, it's like it is so neat to see the boys have some gray. Look at Matt's gray. Look at Justin's got a little bit of gray in there. It's so neat to see those guys have some gray. So 840 days ago, I had a very dear friend of mine turned me on to a book called The Most Important Hour. And so what I did is so I just started to let my beard grow at the same time. And so what I do is I get up in the morning and anywhere between 4:45 to 6:45, depending upon whatever my day looks like. And I give him the first hour of my day. I write him a letter every morning and I said, and I tell him this is what I'm blessed with. This is what I'm thankful for. These are some of the things that are as important. So seek ye first the kingdom of God. And I think when I started putting that in as the cornerstone of each and every day of my life, I think I've really gotten even more balance in addition to the Sabbath. And once again, I mean, I wish I could be your guys' age and go back and institute the most important hour, but then I think my beard would be probably down to my ankles at some point in time. But it's just been a conversation piece with the beard because people say, what's the deal with the beard? And so it opens up a door for me to talk about my faith. And I know that's as crazy as it may sound, but it happens 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah,
I've had people come up and say, you letting the beard grow? It's all over the place. And I says, yeah, but let me tell you about the most important hour. What are the first 4 words about? In the beginning, God. How many times are in the New Testament scriptures do we find out that Jesus is going off early in the morning to get away? Oh yeah. So when I 840 days ago, when I took that first step, that first journey into the most important hour, it really, really kind of revolutionized my faith walk. And I've always been a person of faith, and I have been for a long time, as you both well know, but it's just taken it to a whole nother level. Now, I know the stuff that you guys are working on with your ministry, is encouraging to other people, and everybody has their own particular walk. But the Lord, because of, and I want you guys to take me back to the days when you guys were college athletes at quote unquote Bethel College at the time.
Yep.
Okay, so now it's Bethel University, but I still have the same type of interaction with high school and college kids as I did with you guys all these years. So now I've got kids coming up to me, talking to me about this, and it gives me an opportunity. Talk about blooming where God planted you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you could probably say if there's anybody that you know that bloomed where God has planted you, in this case me, it would be me. I had plenty of opportunities to do a lot of other things, but the Lord said, listen, we're going to put you here in Mishawaka, Indiana. We're going to put you at the centerpiece of Indiana high school football. We're going to do the Colts. You got all these different things are going on, all the different colleges and high schools that we work with. And he says, this is where we're going to plant you, and this is where I want you to serve. It's similar to, the many times that you've gone overseas on some of your amazing missions trips. I mean, God's given you an unbelievable gift, an opportunity to open doors because of what you were able to accomplish as a professional athlete. But I think that, what you guys are doing now with this program is just the tip of the iceberg of what a new area that God has asked you to, a new path he's tried to go down the road. So that's kind of the whole ins and outs of it.
No, I think it's pretty impressive. The fact that, we talk about, even when we're doing Fight Club, this idea of we have it kind of outside the church walls, and it's not necessarily in the church.
Exactly.
It's wrong, but it's outside the church walls doing the thing because half our battle is that we want people to do ministry where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
But too often it's like, no, I'm going to go do full-time ministry, so I got to go to seminary. I got to go be a part of this. And knowledge and wisdom is good, but the fact of having the opportunity to be where you're at, like if you took that idea and were like, oh man, I really feel like God's put a call on my life to impact lives in a positive way, tell people the gospel, I think I need to go work at a church. Like just think of the access that you continue to have with young adults, coaches, the Colts, people in general, that now allows you to speak truth and wisdom into them is just pretty impressive. Now, does that feel like a weight for you? Like, is there a weight or an onus or a burden, or because you spent your 840 days with God now that it kind of calms you down to appreciate and understand?
I think that to answer that question, and that's a great question, because I ask myself that question all the time. Am I better in my faith walk because of the 840 days? I mean, there are days where, if we're traveling and we have let's say hypothetically, we're going to Maine for our annual excursion.
Right.
I mean, and we have a 5:00 flight. That means I'm getting up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, or I'm trying to get it done in a you know what I'm saying? So there are travel days that are involved, and this as the schedules of traveling across from point A to point B on trips. It's you're just trying to navigate through. So I'm really, really diligent about making sure that I have the time, and I've dedicated my life to this because I can see how it's enhanced my walk. My walk is more focused than it ever has been, but I also understand that God is continuing to do more things through what we're trying to do. But I love the fact that I have, when I look back at it from someone else's viewpoint, I had somebody ask me the other day, it was about ministry things, and I says, well, I just want to be available to where God wants me to go.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be working with our Colts Coach of the Week program, or if it's our Gritty's banquet, or if it's sitting down to do a podcast with Matt and Justin, or doing wherever. I mean, I'm literally gone from one end of the country to the other just because the Lord says go. And I think that's the most important thing, is be available when he says go. And having enough faith that if I'm going to go in a new direction, that he said, well, I still want you to go. And trusting the fact that, he is the author and the finisher of our faith, and he's going to be, I mean, when God calls me home at the finish of this whole thing, I want to be able to hear him say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Now, you guys are going to have a laugh when it's all said and done. You're going to say, I wonder if Condry's beard is still going to grow in the casket.
Any beard's a great beard.
Any great beard. But that beard looks awesome, Maddie. It really does.
Doing fine. Yeah. No, you'd fit right in our Fight Club group. We got a lot of beards, so
Yeah. What are you thinking over there, Zappo?
Oh, this is fun. I'm just I'm loving it. Yeah, we have this special connection, not just playing ball together and then, finding our wives at Bethel and doing a lot of things in the same sequence, but connection to you was even my freshman year. Justin wasn't there yet with my parents being in Texas.
Yeah.
And then Justin comes, and so you'd have me up in the booth before in between doubleheader or whatever, and say hi to my mom and dad and my uncle Bill, and like people listening all over the country, and that was super interesting to me. I was always in tech. I'd never done anything with radio. I was already doing networks and communication wiring, and so I loved that. And you were like your little, I don't know, whatever you called it, that little box and your mixer, and you got this little streamer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're like live. Like this is
yeah. One of my favorite stories about because we never during the doubleheader we didn't close it down.
Yeah.
Because we always said, you guys, I'll never forget Marcel and Junior Guevara. They would come up, and mom and dad are in Venezuela, and so they come up, and I can't speak a lick of Spanish, and so I gave them an opportunity. He says, okay, let's talk to mom and dad down in Venezuela. So they would get on there, and they would go to town, and so it was such a unique experience, and there were so many times where we had a chance to connect dots, and I'd be able to keep track. I still talk to your mom on Facebook through the years, and that's been the unique thing about these relationships that you have with our athletes. I still keep in contact with athletes all over the country that I've met through Bethel or through IU or through Holy Cross up at Notre Dame, kids who I've had a chance to impact. And I've had a chance to share the most important hour, the book that I've got, and I've had a chance to give that out to a half a dozen athletes. One of my favorite athletes is Matt Hofer. He's a football player at the University of Toledo. He's in day number 450 or so, but Matt is made a part of the Good Hands team. We helped sponsor him and send him to Africa on a couple of mission trips the last couple of years through our ministry. And so it's so neat to be able to see some of the things that you've experienced in your own life, to be able to share some of those, because ministry isn't just going to church on Sunday, as we all know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to have a heart for what you're doing and bloom where God's planting you. So, and to me, I would have never dreamed that when Coach Mike Lightfoot hired us to do Bethel basketball in the late 90s, early 2000s, that it would lead to all this. But the one thing that I would say that I've done well at is I've bloomed where he's planted me. And I've loved every kid and every coach that I've had a chance to meet. And I still, it's the neat thing about the social media thing is being able to follow you guys and watch your families kind of grow and whatnot. And some kids more than others. And no matter how old you guys you guys will always kind of be kids to us. I hope you guys don't take take offense to that.
Hey, that's how mom and dad always look at me, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we look at it, because I'll never forget we were literally in Maine, and you were pitching, and so we were. I'll never forget this, because we're driving up Coastal Route 1. And I'm looking to say, listen, Justin's supposed to pitch, so we try to find the closest place. I think we were in. I tell you what, someplace near Kittery, so we found the closest place that would have, food and I guess a sports pub or something to that effect. And so we got in there, and I says, hey, listen, our boy's pitching tonight. And she goes, really? I said, yeah. I says, why aren't you there? I says, well, and you got to try to explain this to the waitress, about Justin and this whatnot. And so I go into this story and this long story thing, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, let us get us the screen for you. So they get us a screen right for our table, and we watched Justin pitch. It was just, but those are the kind of things that you do for your kids.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it was like. And Maddie, if it would have been you playing center field someplace, we'd have felt the same way.
Yeah.
It's a neat thing about it.
His parents were in Ohio, close enough to come, but couldn't always come.
Right.
And so it was like this distant. I mean, you were the connection to back home, and it was a joy to. No matter how we played, it's like, we're going up to talk to Paul after the game. It's like, it wasn't even a post-game interview of like, all right, let's go over the play. I mean, it was just like, hey, we get to do it again, doubleheader. say hi to mom and dad. Okay, go warm up. Get Justin in here, get Marcel in here.
Oh,
And then Chad Jenkins was up there with you. And I mean, it's just a riot.
yeah, we had some great times.
Well, there's just a way, and again, it's interesting to think like from the get-go, yeah, faith has been a part of you, but like your life has always been, from what I've known it,
Sure.
of a person of encouragement.
Yeah,
But-
that's my spiritual gift, just like yours is too.
Yeah.
You have the same spiritual
But
gift.
what's also crazy is within that, which I probably makes even more sense as I'm thinking about it, but like your ability to like say tough things or be honest about certain things, which would sound somewhat critical at times.
Right.
Maybe it's about performance or whatever, was never really taken as like a jab or anything like that. It's just a real conversation, like no matter what it was, even if it wasn't, because to Matt's point, like when everyone wanted to be up there, you'd be around, Paul, because he would say something kind, but even when he was questioning you about what you did out on the field in some sort of performance, you didn't feel like you were jabbing. You felt like it was a conversation of like, I was watching this and this was happening. It's like, yeah, I know. I did this.
It's like Coach Seiler. Coach Seiler would always come to you and say, Justin, and I remember we'd have conversations when you were playing in the big leagues. Coach Seiler, we would because we'd always have this Justin Masterson report. We have this Eric Stoltz report because you guys were both those guys were in the big leagues at the same time. Okay, right. So we had this big report, and Coach Seiler comes and approaches me and says, Did you watch? And I always said, did you watch the big nasty pitch the other day? That goes back to one of your first ever podcasts. You were talking about nicknames. That was hilarious. So did you see the big nasty pitch? I says, yeah. He says, he's got to get better at throwing strike one on. And I remember this conversation that I had with him. And I remember having the conversation with you that here you are, accomplished, you Major League All-Star. You come back to visit with Coach Seiler. And Coach Seiler loves you to death. Yes. But the first thing he's going to coach you up. He says, Justin, you got to be better on pitch one, right?
No, that's exactly.
Isn't that the way he was?
I mean, that was his motto from the get-go. I mean, and if you don't
But he said it in love.
Oh, yeah. Coach Seiler was an old-timer who was on the staff. He had coached football for 18 million years. I think he was in the Hall of Fame in Indiana, high school football. He passed away many years ago, but even up until that point, like he would. Every moment. And we'd always joke, the
general
was the general, but also the voice whenever someone would do it. Like,
Vandy.
Oh, guys, like even if it really wasn't his voice, it'd be this high pitch. Oh, come on now, you got to be better than that.
You got to get that bunt down.
Everything was all technical with him. It was like listen, but he coached you, but he coached you with love.
Oh, and
you knew that he saw your potential before you even realized what your potential was. And I don't care who it was.
He made me a second baseman.
I
never played second more than just like a fill-in before college.
Oh, yeah.
And he hit me a million ground balls. And I don't even know that he was an infield specialist. Like, he made me an infielder.
No, but again, another person in the same capacity who believed in you. And I still remember, I still take the same philosophy because he cared about stats. He loved that stuff. There was one thing, Merrill, you probably won't care about this because baseball thing, but he wanted to have a stat of a move up where, of course, if you move a guy from second to third and it's not a bunt, or you get him from first to second, with less than 2 outs and it's not a bunt, he's like, you should get credit of some way, shape, or form for doing that, because those are the little things of the game that he wanted people to appreciate. But when it came to pitching, he repeated the same things every time. It was first pitch strike, get the first batter out, and on or off in 3 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wanted for the that's a simple philosophy, and to me it doesn't even change to this day. Like if we can put in a first pitch strike on a guy, some people would then take it to a 1-1 count, which you can throw a strike on. But if you get that first batter out, change the way things go. And then if you're able to get a guy on or off, in 3 pitches or less, so either give up a hit or you punch him out, you're going to have success because you're going to keep your pitch count low. You're going to be effective. You're going to be aggressive. And that is what still resonates for Coach Seiler.
I wonder if just thinking about Greg Maddux, you were talking about there's some crazy stats about Greg Maddux that he only got a full count to X amount of guys during the course of his career.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's some crazy stuff that this guy was doing when he was in his prime. But I wonder if he had the same mentality, maybe I don't know, of the importance of let's establish who we are on the first pitch to each batter. But if I'm sure you know this, there are big guys sitting on that first pitch knowing exactly what you're thinking. This is because everybody stats everything these days. I mean, they know that Masterson's coming in with the big nasty right here on pitch 1. This is what he's going to throw, and they're sitting on that.
Oh, they are.
But still, Greg Maddux. What can you say about that guy, man? That guy still got people out.
It's about execution.
Yes.
Like when it comes down to it, no matter how great, I was just talking about this, last night. We were doing, study on Ephesians and stuff. And so we got these guys, and I go, if you just gain wisdom and knowledge after we're done with all this, then we failed. Because my hope and goal is that, yes, you would gain some wisdom and knowledge, because you could. I want people to have a better IQ of baseball, faith, basketball. I go, but if that doesn't help your reactions, the way that you act, the way that you do the things when it comes down to it, then it's all for nothing. And so that's where it comes down to of like, that's awesome. You know what I'm going to do? Cool. And I'm still going to do it, because the kids today will be like, oh, they know what we're going to do. I'm like, awesome. Let's just draw the play up for them. And then we can execute it. And if we do it right, it doesn't matter what they do. Like, we can still adjust and make it work. And again, what happens? Like, guys who swing on first pitch, I loved it. Because even if they know I'm trying to throw a fastball there, you hit your spots, you get your corners. I mean, same thing Greg Maddux would be thinking about. You put that where it needs to be, good things are going to happen. You take care of what you're able to take care of, and then everything will be okay, more or less, in the scheme of it.
It seemed to work out for you.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's plenty of times, he's over here rehashing. What'd you rehash on the phone when we were on the way over here?
With you?
Yeah.
Oh, you your freshman year, you had like a 2.2 ERA.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And then we were like, yeah, that's unbelievable. And then next year you pumped out a 1.59.
Yeah,
that's not what you were telling me. Now you're boosting me up.
No, it was unbelievable.
What did you tell me when we were coming? We were talking about long-haired.
Long-haired?
From Marion?
Oh, yeah. So we have to go. Yeah. Producer Leo reminded me.
Producer Leo's in here.
His freshman year.
Yeah,
we were in runnings for conference championship at the Mid Central Conference, MCC, whatever it is now, at Crossroads, and we were down in third place or whatever it was, where we had to win out twice to beat Marion, and so we beat Huntington, we swept St. Francis, we swept IWU. We finished the season strong, and we get to the playoffs, and we know we're going to win the first series, but we've got to beat Marion twice, which I don't even know if that's still the thing, but like I was thinking about it, I was like, really? So they must have beat us in regular season twice is probably how it worked. So either way, Justin pitches the first game, wins.
Yeah, and then I'm hanging out in the booth with you.
He's up in the booth.
After that game.
We're at home, right?
Yeah, we were at home.
We're at home for whatever reason, maybe our field, weather, I don't know. And we hosted that year. Yeah, you host the tournament. So we were hosting the tournament my sophomore year, your freshman year. Win the first game. We literally had just won 7 in a row, so that we're like, we're winning this thing. Elijah Marshall, stud freshman, is lights out, but lets in a few. All of a sudden, we're winning, but now it's close. What do we do? And coach brings back in Justin. He gets called down from the booth.
It was like, come on,
you need to come and warm up. And just like, oh, really? Okay. Complete game, first game. And he's warming up in the pen. Whatever the case is, we decided to put Justin in. And he gave up a grand salami to lose the game. So we lost conference. But I did look. You're a freshman.
It was a good looking pitch, though.
Yeah,
it was right there.
You're a freshman. This kid was a senior, and he saw you literally all day. So
and he was one of the best players in our conference.
Yeah.
When it came down to it, I can never remember people's names. I just remember he was the long-haired guy because there's always
join the crowd.
Whatever, you're so good with names. I don't know how you do it, Paul. I mean, you are unbelievable. Somebody's in your ear telling you.
No, there's nobody in my ear. Justin will tell you that when you're doing big league games and you've got those kind of resources, there are people literally telling you what to say in your ear. the dynamics are a lot different. When we're doing at our level, I mean, you are doing everything. You are your own sports information director, your own producer, your own director. You are your own. I mean, just like we're doing here. This is a pretty awesome little setup here. If it wasn't for Leo keeping everything in line over here,
That's right.
I think we would crash this. We would crash the bus over here. But I mean, there's just so many
For
moving
sure.
parts.
What you
You know?
would have is if it was
Yeah.
just if Leo wasn't here, you'd have Matt over there sending me signals.
Yeah,
like, "Hey, you
absolutely.
forgot to change the camera,
Yeah.
to the next person.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, which I can always adjust post edit, but then again, it puts more work that I don't necessarily want to do. But you know what? In the scheme of it, we're going to keep. It's great having you here on the show, but I do want to hit just a little bit on. If people are still listening, that's what I always. Of course, if you listen, you go. I'm always like, I don't know if you're still here. Mara might have turned off already, but I still love you, babe. But we are on Law 11. When we have Frank Viola's 48 Spiritual Laws of Power, and it's just these neat little things that come through, little tidbits or whatnot, that hopefully are encouragement to all the people that come. And I think you fit within this world because Law 11 says lower your expectations. And there's this bit where, Frank would say, build your life on appreciation, not expectation. And he would say, when you're dealing with people, just lower your expectations. Now I look at this. I was talking about driving a couple shows ago, and spent a bit of time on it. And what I've learned is even though my wife will say like, oh, you get mad, even though I don't really get mad, I do talk to them, is that I expect them, which Lori expected, I expect them to not be good at what's happening. Like I expect them to be bad drivers. Even my wife, she'll go out there and she'll notice that like there are bad drivers. Snow comes out. She was the one driving 15 miles an hour. It's okay. She was being safe, keeping everyone in the vehicle safe. But like when you look at that, when I'm dealing with people and we're coaching, we're doing all different types of things. And I think in your world, you're dealing with people all the time. Plus you're trying to train up people to understand and do things. And it can be, if you have just expectations, it can be frustrating and you can get angry, which is not always helpful, especially the things that we talk about. But when you're in that realm of appreciation, it allows to highlight the things that supply joy. And so in one sense, when I hear lower expectations, as Frank's talking about it, makes me think of like, oh, we don't want perfection. Like we don't want it to be good. And I don't think that's where he's going. It's more of, it's okay to work hard, put in the effort, do great things. And then there are times when you go out and you pitch in the second game of a doubleheader and it doesn't work out the way that you hoped, even though you had put out so much effort. Does that ever happen in your world when you felt like you maybe should have started lowering your expectations early on in life?
Oh, this is the easiest question that you're going to ask me. I have such great appreciation for doing what I'm doing. This is what I wanted to do when I was 4. Wow. How many people get to grow up and do what they want to do? Now, my roundabout direction to get from point A to point B may have been a lot different. I mean, from getting ready to go into the Navy, I'm getting ready to have my physical. I fail my physical. I meet my wife. We go on, and then we have kids, and so I look at all the speed bumps or the stop signs that I had along to get where I was at into my late 20s to where I was at. I'm so thankful that God gave me the ability to coach for 7 years at my alma mater back at Hobart. But I look at all those steps along the way, and I have such.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt you because I know you were in a good spot, but Hobart,
Indiana,
like up in
Northwest Indiana, near
oh,
Maryville.
I got a guy, Mike Z. Why can't I think of his Zeretich, where he is from?
Yep,
he was just up there, and nobody knows about it. Up in the region.
Yep. 4-time state champion.
Yeah.
One of the winningest programs in the history of high school football in Indiana.
Okay.
So
you, Mike Zeredich, and a few others.
There you go.
My goodness.
But I have a great appreciation for being able to do what I want to do. Because how many people, I mean, if you were to sit down and just talk to 100 random people on the street and ask them, are you doing what you want to do? Are you happy with your life? How many people get to say that I get to do the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I was 4 years old? I remember listening to Lloyd Pettit do a Chicago Blackhawks game on the radio. And I'm thinking to myself, I want to do that. And how God orchestrated all the stops along the way. So I finally had an opportunity. I was involved in an accident in Chicago. I was working in Chicago. God literally pulled the rug out from underneath me, and I had to go back and restart my career. And what are the chances of a sports director in Northwest Indiana resigning and me applying for the job, me getting the job, and how God orchestrated each and every one of those steps along the way. So talk about appreciation. I have a tremendous amount of appreciation for where God has put me and how many people he has brought into my life. And my circle is really, really wide. And I mean, you guys, I mean, it is incredible to be able to talk about appreciation. And I just want to serve God the best way I can while I'm here, because I just want to just say thank you. I want to do this for you because you've given me a job of my dreams, quite frankly.
Right. Well, the journey of it going through, I'm sure you've.
Oh, it's not been paved easy.
All different,
as you and I've discussed. Yeah. There's been some just moving right along. All of a sudden, there's not a pothole. You're going off a cliff. And then, and I think about all the things that, once again, those trials, and, more often than not, I don't think we appreciate when we're in the midst of a trial. And I can say this at 69, that when you're in the midst of a trial that is literally changing everyone around you, whether it be in this case, it could be your kids, it could be your wife, it could be everybody that you're all in this trial together. And you don't appreciate the trial when you're in the midst of this trial. You just don't, because you want to survive. You get into that survival mentality. But then once you're through that and you look back on it and you have, wow, it was you. It was you carrying me all the entire time. The appreciation that you have for God's divine path that he put you on. I know that at Bethel, it's with Christ at the helm, and I know that's kind of the school thing, but really, if Christ is at the helm, you have a much better chance of making it through this crazy world that we live in. And I have appreciation. I love that word, Justin. Matt, that's
yeah. No,
I'm right with you there, guys, on that.
I like how you say that. I actually used, maybe in my immaturity or just not understanding those trials, I used to do what a lot of people think and say is like, God, where are you in this? I'm going through some tough stuff and you're not here. Like, not maybe can't feel you, I can't hear you, I can't sense your direction because this isn't right. Like, there's something wrong going on, and this turmoil, this thing. And now I through others' wisdom, not my own, I've realized, like, this is actually where you're supposed to be at.
Absolutely.
And
he never stops working. There's that great song. Matter of fact, Justin, I think I sent you my Christmas card this past week, and we talked about this song called Waymaker. There's an amazing song by Waymaker. Leland is my favorite version, but there's a line in that song about he never stops working. He never stops working.
Right.
And when you start embracing the mindset that I just need to stay on the path, he's who I'm following because he is always working. He is always working. And to me, if you have, once again, appreciation, I have such great appreciation because I'm working, I'm trusting, I'm following, but I also know that he is always working.
Yeah.
That's an amazing place to be.
So now, how then do you deal with people who come along? So this is what you want to do since you're 4 years old. You get people who come in who maybe don't put in the same effort, don't maybe respect it as much as you do. How do you end up dealing with those type of people that come your way in the midst of this?
I kick them out.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, if someone's going to be on my team, you're going to be all in. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm the head coach of my team.
Yeah.
I'm going to surround myself with people who are going to buy in the whole situation. I go back to being a head coach. I mean, that's what you want. And you guys are coaching now, and you understand the dynamic. I want you all in. And I know that's a sports cliche, but that's all in. When you guys were playing, you guys were having a great time, but you guys were all in. Everybody on those Bethel teams that you guys played with, Everybody wanted to win.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody liked to lose on that group. And that group was so much fun to be around. All those guys were, because everybody had such a competitive streak. And I know when you went out on the bump, forget about that. I mean, people just like, I mean, this guy, he has a heart and a mindset that he understands God put me in this 6 foot, 7 foot frame, and he put a fire behind me, and that he was going to use all the skills and the athletic talents that you had, and you were going to, at some point in time, when you were on the greatest stage in Major League Baseball, you were going to glorify God for the gifts and the skills that you've been given. And even though you're not playing in the big leagues anymore, you're still doing the same things. You're still magnifying your relationship with Christ, your love for Christ. And so you've bloomed where you're planted now. And so to me, it goes back to those days when you guys were playing. Once again, it's about the appreciation of having great teammates. But for me, Justin, when it comes down to, if you're not all in on this team, let me show you where the door is at.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me about somebody. So you got to interview lots of people,
I do.
And not everyone is the same. So when you come into an interview, and do you get disappointed when they come in and don't bring the same type of vibe? Does that frustrate you, make you angry?
Oh yeah, it does.
Or is that a way?
No.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It ticks me off, quite frankly. I mean, I tell this with
Love
my
it, yes.
I want everybody to give me. I want to honor God with I didn't get a lot of gifts. I was at the back of the bus, but he gave me 2 really good ones. And so I want to honor him with my very, very best when I get behind this microphone, or I put a headset on, or if I'm in a public speaking situation, or if I'm releasing my book or a film, or whatever the case may be. I want to give him my very best. And if you can't see that, you can't see my enthusiasm, you can't see my passion for what I do. There's a significant difference, because to me, it's almost to the point where, going back to when I was a kid growing up, you're my enemy. I want to kick your butt. I want to get out there, and I've seen you pitch. There's been times where, you let one get away, and that guy, you hit him right in the backside. Or you just give him a little chin music. I remember those days. You weren't doing that to hurt anybody. You were sending a message that, listen, I am in control of this situation. I am the pitcher. My job is to get you out, and whatever it takes. If I have to send a message with one in your ear or over your ear, or hit the bull,
backstop,
whatever the case may be, you could insert your Bull Durham reference in here anytime. Now he hit the mascot.
Yeah.
But I remember this specifically because there'll be times where you would hit people, but it wasn't that you were hitting them intentionally. It was just, that one got a little away from me. But you never did it. You did it with in a subtle way of saying, well, sorry about that. It just got away. But you weren't really sorry about it, because you were just trying. It was just in that competitive moment situation, and that's where I'm at in my business. I am so ultra competitive, still at age 69, that I want to, and I expect to win every time I put my headset on. I have guys come up to me after my ball game. How was your broadcast today? We finished it. We're okay. And seldom, if you ask any of the guys on my team, I walk away from something and say, well, I crushed that today. Because I don't crush those today. Because now I'll go back and we'll finish up this podcast, and the guys will ask me, what were you doing in Indianapolis? I'll say, I was on with Justin and Maddie doing the podcast. And I'm going to say right now, and we're not even done yet, we crushed this today. We crushed this today because we were able to get through all the stuff that you had on your list. We were able to have some laughs. We were able to share some great stories. And we did the most important thing. We talked about our love and our passion for Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And what we do. And we're so thankful that, once again, that appreciation, that word, man, I'm so grateful. And I hope Leo gets this. I hope he understands that he understands that if you're passionate and you love what you do, people will see Jesus. People will say, man, I want what that guy's got. I want what that guy's got.
Well, actually, that's actually what I'm thinking about, is because some people have gotten stuck and they didn't live up to their 4-year-old dream, or they never had it, or they couldn't really fulfill because of a life circumstance, And you brought up disappointment, and there's people listening that go, wow, I don't have the Justin story and the Paul. Hey, it wasn't paved in a smooth path for you, but you got there, and you get stuck, and it gets kind of in a circular disappointment and depression and just kind of grind of life. And here we are about to hit like our snow winter up here, and it just kind of feels gray. And it's like, how do I get out of this? Like, where's spring coming for people? And what hope do you have when you were hitting those bumps? And when you did get a grand slam hit off of you to lose the game, where do you pick yourself up? Because there's this competitiveness where it's like, that means you have to win in order to succeed. And that's not actually what I'm hearing, because you can have success even when you don't necessarily crush it. Because we're not counting the wins and losses in that mindset. We're counting the wins and losses differently.
Something just kind of piggybacking on what you were saying there, Matt. And I don't know, Justin, I want to throw this back to you because, when everybody's telling you, how great you are, and they're saying, listen, he's this kind of player, he's that kind of player, he's an all-star, and so I'll have there's a local guy always, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Paul Condry, 6 Hall of Fames. It goes on all this. It's like, yeah, really, not really. The reality of it is that I'm a sinner saved by grace, and I don't think about any of those kind of things when I'm spending time in the morning in the most important hour. This is vulnerable Paul, sinner saved by grace, who comes to the table every morning and says, I'm here. I love you. I'm going to write a letter to you today. I'm going to tell you how much I love you, how much I appreciate you, how much I thank you for all the things you've done for me in my life. And if I can't get excited about the trials as well as all those accolades that we talked about, that because each one of those trials allowed me to achieve, quote unquote, those accolades. You getting lit up with a grand slam and against Marion, it was a watershed moment, whether you knew it or not, because it said, okay, am I going to sit and wallow in defeat? No, he didn't sit and wallow in defeat. His cocky butt got up the next time he pitched, and he pitched like he was a Cy Young Award winner, and that's the way it was. And in sports, we all know this. If you don't have short-term memory, you're not a very good athlete. I mean, if you're out golfing, you hit a bad shot, you got to forget about it. So Justin gets lit up. The guy launches this grand slam, but I don't think I bet you'd never even thought about it the next time you went out and pitched. No. You just went out and pitched because you forgot about it.
No, I think about it now.
Yeah, you do now. Yeah, that's because we're reminded you about it now because it was a funny thing to think about. But my point is, the great athletes have the ability to, and I get this a lot because I'll get a nice note from someone, and I says, hey, that's kind of cool. Thank you, Father. Nice. And I hold the paper up, the letter up to them and say, this is for you, Father. And then I go back to work.
Right.
So you throw that pitch, you beanie guy or whatever the case may be. You strike a guy. I mean, so you do all those things, but you immediately have to remember that was just that pitch. I got to go on to the next pitch. You got to go on to the next pitch. You got to have that next pitch mentality.
And I think that's what life is too. Like the ones who are doing life really, really good within Christ are the ones who have the short memory. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that they forget all things. It doesn't mean I forget that I gave up the grand slam.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect what I'm doing on my day to day.
Right.
And so that's what sets people apart. Many people want to just sit in that like, oh, this bad happened. I mean, even as you say, like sinners saved by grace, like we do need to understand that we're sinners, we're not perfect. But it's also the fact that like, dude, I'm rocking through Ephesians right now. And the first part of it, Paul's just going through all these things that Christ has done for us. Like our setting is that we are sons, seated at the right hand with Christ, in Christ, because his spirit dwells within us. So we have access to the same power that he has thrown within us. And so there is a confidence that comes, and not the one where you have like the kid who knows that his dad played in a professional, or his dad's rich and he kind of like walks with these shoulders like this, but a confidence that I come to the table and I know my Father's happy to be with me. you experience a joy, and that's where that, the joy is, as our brains understand it, is someone is happy to be with me. And so we know that that's there. So then when I give up, a grand slam and doesn't work out well, whether that's to the dude at Marion or that's to Evan Longoria when we're facing the Tampa Bay Rays, which also happened, or Jose Bautista, the one time I struck him out tons of times, and then he happens to get one grand slam off of me. Woohoo. Those moments that come, those aren't the defining parts of where it is. Like, that happened, that was great, but my confidence never wavers, never deters. And I think that that's one of the things that's also difficult for a lot of people, for someone like yourself and myself, and there's countless others who are like it, where we do have the ability to offend people because of the confidence that we have of who God made us to be. And it doesn't mean that we think that we're the best or greater than everyone else, but we get the work done. I think of my Uncle Dale is kind of like the same way. He has very much confidence in his ability to speak, his ability to deal with people. And he's not going around saying, I'm better than you and I'm better than this. He just goes, I know that I have a skill set, compared to other people who are like, well, I'm not very good. And some just do that, as a, to be somewhat humble. But when you ask, we talk about this, Matt, like, you like your SEAL teams and some of those things, right?
Yeah.
And if we're coming together on a team, like, I want you to know what you're good at. I want you to know what you're good at. So then we come together and I ask you to do something, like, you told me you're good at this. Or you're like, I'm like, are you good at it or not?
Yeah.
Like, that's all I need to know. Well, I'm trying to be humble. Humble is not the thing. Like, right now, we just need to understand, do you know what God has created you? And people are so, I think, weary and afraid to understand and truly know what God has made them to be. Because why? Because they're afraid, as we talked about, that they may not hit the mark every single time they go out. And then that takes some of their value away. Whereas I love the idea that someone had said, how can we, in this idea of, okay, lower expectations, whatnot in our life, we're in our worlds doing our things. How can we be tough on our training, but tolerant in our performance? So if we train really, really hard, the assumption is that when we come to perform, good things will probably come along. But when they don't, we don't lose ourselves, because if we do, then we have an identity gap. And now I am like, I thought I was good at this, and I'm not good at this because I messed up one time, and now I can never pitch again because I gave up a grand slam. And this is terrible. Like, who am I, right? Yeah. Like, you have one time where you mistalk on a show.
Yeah, I mispronounced somebody's name. I get it. Yeah, which when coaches don't know how to pronounce their own kids' names, then we have a problem. But you talk about. I mean, some of this is like fear. I think in the Bible it talks about 365 days, 365 times the word "do not fear."
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you take one a day, take a one fear tablet a day, if you will, right? So if you go through life and you're fearless in how you go about doing things, I think that comes down to it. I just have a tremendous amount of confidence that, and once again, knowing what lane you're in, and for me, it's real easy. I've got one really good lane, and I'm not going out of my lane. But when he asks me to, I'm going to say, okay, do not fear.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to go do something, and I've got some terrific people on my staff who do some great things to help me, as you well know. Mm-hmm. Guys, if you don't have great support, whether it be from your wives or your kids, or to help you do your jobs, I mean, all the stuff that's in the Indiana Football Digest and the Gritties and all the other stuff that we do, it's not just something that Paul did. There's a whole bunch of people. There's a whole village in there that's helping us, put us in a position. And it's just I have to have the mindset that if I have to go outside of Paul's broadcasting lane, that I have to go over here with a spirit of fearlessness, that I cannot be afraid, because I know that he has me going down this lane for a particular reason.
When you have that hope and that peace, then that non-fear, that no fear, not mentality comes naturally.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking, wow, that's amazing, I wish I had that mentality, it's like, well, because you're not confident in Christ yet.
Right.
And when he's got you on mission, and we're talking about the SEAL team, when like, no, I'm here to execute this mission. God put me here on this earth for a reason. The fears, they're there, but they're behind you.
Right.
And so
Eh,
you're able to execute with the best of your ability, the best of your efforts, not so that you get recognized for how good you are. It's
Right.
because like, no, this is what God put me here to do.
Getting back to the most important hour. I mean, here I am I'm at 69 years old. So do the math for, 840 days ago. So I started this new program, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still learning at 69 as if I was when I first picked up my Bible. That Bible is a living, breathing entity in itself. I mean, make no mistake about it. I mean, if you get up in the morning and you spend time in that word, he is going to reveal himself into those trials, into those circumstances, whatever the case may be. He is going to reveal himself to you. Will he reveal it to you in your time frame? We all know the answer to this one. God answers prayers in 3 ways: yes, no, and wait a while. And we all don't like no. We love yes. Wait a while is where we have to go with a fearless mindset. That, hey, listen, we're going to follow what he has, and we're going to follow it fearlessly.
Yeah, and I love whenever I hear fearless. I also like to put in this idea of courageous, also like showing courage, being brave, and the fact that like I know this is difficult, which gives you the same concept of fearless.
Right.
Just in my brain, it translates when I'm like, man, you go out and you show courage because this might be difficult. You might not be able to do it, but you can still take an opportunity to step in and step up to the table. And I think that that's where, if I'm taking this last bit of where we're lowering the expectations, in the scheme of things, it is this idea that we can come alongside people, we can come alongside anybody, and we can still, for us, be able to grow in our maturity, which is so cool to hear that. Like you're 69, you're still growing, you're still learning, you're still moving. My mom does that well. My wife and I, we love doing that together. Lord has blessed us in a spot where we're able to continue to grow together, learning knowledge and wisdom. But there's also some of this that helped out, because there was a point when I looked at my wife and I'm like, how are you not smarter than? How do you not know this? You were in church. Why is this a problem for you? And almost like looking down, trying to be, father, whatever. And then I was like, whoa. Like, he says lower expectations, but in my book, Matt, you hit on like the maturity aspect of it. I go realize that like, oh, there's just some immaturity. Not that I'm so mature in all ways, but like there's some immaturity. How can I just come alongside, still expect things in great ways, but knowing that we're not like there's one phrase where it's like, I trust you can handle this, but I also understand that things go sideways, and that's okay, because we're trying to learn and grow to be able to do that. And I was just thinking, how can we continue to grow, like with our kids, to utilize that kind of philosophy, to use it with people we engage with, people who work for us, that we're trying to train up and help them to learn, who are all in, but that doesn't mean that they get it all the time, that they execute the way we need them to all the time. And so we can still be, yes, this is what we expect, but I understand whether we say it or not. Like, I understand it may not always hit that, but that's still the goal that we go to. And even with ourselves, like we can beat up ourselves. And that's something that I'm just noticing in you, so much so that you've always had the confidence, you've always been the encourager, but you just see this deeper light that comes from you because of just the passion that you've had over these last 840 days of just being in the Word and starting your day with the best first hour, which is pretty incredible.
Well, I think that before it was like, I got an opening between 4:30 and 5 today. Let's do it then. Or I have an opening at 8:30 tonight. Let's spend time in the Word. But I think being intentional about getting up in the morning, and spending time in the Word, and to think about writing a letter to God every morning. Good morning, Father. And I just tell him as if I'm writing a letter to Matt or writing a letter to Justin. I want to have that intimate. So I always I'm using the term Abba Father. And I've been doing this study on the names of God and how his name resonates throughout the course of the Old Testament. But I keep thinking about Father, Abba Father. And I'm thinking about if since since Paul Condry's earthly father, Paul Jasper Condry, is in heaven with our heavenly Father, I don't have a father I can go to and say, hey, listen, I'd like to talk to you about this, Dad. So my true father is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, God himself. And so when you're having an intimate conversation with the creator of the universe every single morning, but I also want it to be real. It's just if I'm talking to Justin and Maddie doing the podcast. I want that same type of relationship. I want that same type of dialogue. So if you were to go through and read the most important hour journals, it's a really candid. Some people may say, well, you're not being really reverent to the Lord in your conversation. No, because he's my father. I want to be able to have that intimate relationship with my father, and I want to be able to tell him how I feel. Is that always reverent? Not necessarily. It's not. I mean, how many times have we all cried out to God and asked God, please help me? And we've also done that where it hasn't been reverent. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, Tanya and I were having conversations on the way down about when we were watching you pitch. We were watching you pitch, and we were praying in our spirit to say, all right, Father, give Justin the ability to be courageous, be fearless right now. He needs to get a pitch high and inside right here, right now. And we were praying for specifics. But we know that he's listening. I don't know if he cares if Justin's being effective today or not, but we were doing it because we felt God called us to be your prayer warrior. Yeah. And I think more often than not, if anybody can learn anything about what we talked about today, find yourself somebody you can be a prayer warrior for. You have to have that. And so what we do every morning, Tanya and I, we pray at 7:14 every morning, and we're intentional about our prayer, about asking God, whether it be it's praying for the nation of Israel, whether it be praying for our children, praying for a spiritual revival in the hearts and the minds of our kids and our grandkids, a hedge of protection over our great country. And then we can go through our laundry list of people who we're praying for, people who are sick or who've had death in their family. So we try to be intentional about that, but find somebody you can pray for, man. And when you love somebody enough to be able to petition the creator of the universe on their behalf, I think that that's how I've approached what we've done with our career at Bethel, with all you Bethel guys. I'd sit down before a ball game and I'd read through everybody's name, and in my spirit, and you guys know what it's like to pray in your spirit. I'm praying for Matt today. I'm praying for Justin today. I'm praying for Jenkins today. I'm praying for Coach Zartman. I'm praying for everybody. Because you just do that. And I think that's part of that walk. And there's some maturation that I've been on over the course of these last few years. In this case, 5 decades. 5 decades.
Some good wisdom right there.
That's some great wisdom.
I love listening about how you're talking about praying your spirit in this conversation. Some people think like you've got to really get in a posture and a spot to pray. And there's times for that. And there's times where you need to remove distractions. You need to go to a place where you are in line with your thoughts with God only. But most of the time, that's the way I'm driving around. I'm just talking in my head and I'm reading an article.
That's the best way to go.
Reminds me of somebody, and I say I'm going to pray for them, and then now it's like, you know what? I'm just going to call them or shoot them a text right now. Our guy Mark Kincaid he's this prayer warrior for our team, and he'll just send you. He doesn't care what you're doing. He'll just send you a prayer video. You'll be on the show. Hey, just send you a prayer video, and because he's like, why wait? It's not about the person. It's about the connection you're having with God. And then you also want to be this encouragement to others and let them know, like, somebody's thinking about you, and what you do in life is important, and don't let that, drift away and just think you're all alone. And so we're all connected. And even though we're not physically around each other, I love hearing the stories about you.
Yeah, guys have a unique situation because Tanya and I've had this conversation on numerous occasions. Guys can pick up a conversation that happened 12 years ago in 3 months. Yeah. They can pick up that conversation and go right with it. We could sit down and we could talk about stories from when you guys were playing, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas gals, it's a different dynamic. They're wired just a little bit different, where they have to have. And once again, it's God designs us each and every one of us in His own special way. Make no mistake about it. But guys are. we can just pick up right where we left off. I haven't seen so-and-so for 25 years, and you get together with them, you see them at an alumni event, and it's like, you know, I don't know what you've done the last 25 years, but it's great to see you. It's great to be with you, you know, and we're unique in that regard.
Oh, that's for sure. And I love it. And I appreciate all the wisdom and knowledge that we've dropped today, and that you've been willing to come down here. It's probably a great time for us to just kind of wrap it up and just say, man, the idea of having being a prayer warrior and having prayer warriors in your life, we're all about the people that you surround yourself with, positive, good individuals who are impacting you in just godly ways is even better. But just this idea of all these things we're kind of talking about, the confidence we can have in Christ, it allows us to what's the point? It allows us to stay calm. It gives us that fearlessness, the courage, the resilience to work through. It allows us to frame some of these setbacks that you had throughout, that you were talking about, to not things that are like, oh, I can't do it anymore. But no, I can still work through this. Like, yes, this has happened, but this is just a challenge that actually allows me to grow. Because if I didn't have any setbacks, then I'm not actually going to be able to grow in the midst of these. So I just want to say thank you for coming down, hanging out with us, being a part of the show. Thank you, Tanya, for also being here, and greatly.
I couldn't do this gig without her. She's yeah. So that's when I can get emotional when you think about someone who's been a part of the journey, who's seen you at your very highs and seen you throughout your lows, and you know what that's like. Both you guys do with your family, and yeah, Tanya's been amazing in regards to that. Been the love of my life, and I'm so grateful for all the things that she has done. She's kicked me in the backside when I needed to kick. She's hugged me when I needed to. She's pulled on my beard when necessary, and then those are the kind of things that you need somebody like that in your life. So, but it's awesome being with you guys. I want you to know that, and I know I've told you this a lot over the course. I'm proud of both of you guys, proud of the great men you guys have grown up to be, fathers, men of God, and even though I may still call you guys, you know, my kids, you know, I'm so proud of the kids you guys are raising, because I think that I get so much hope and encouragement in this world when I see the Justin Mastersons and the Matt Zappazotis being successful out there in the world and raising up great young men and women. So I'm proud of you guys and love you both.
Love you too. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Till next time.
I think on the B cut, maybe the extras for our members only, which we don't have members yet, but we're getting there. That the guys, people listening, could hear a little bit of what Paul's trade is. Do you want?
Oh yeah, no, we need to. Yeah,
you want to share that on the second?
What are you talking about?
Whatever. Yeah, we got it.
So yeah, I got it queued up. So put your headphones on. So for all you guys hearing what Paul does, if you're not from the Midwest and don't.
Sorry, we don't
know
have
some of
for you, Tanya.
What he's been so successful at. I mean, he's an announcer, he's a interviewer, he's a speaker, all these things. That makes sense. But we went back in the archives and found one of my parents, actually, both my parents, just absolutely love this. It's like,
wow.
20 years old. And I don't know how else to sum up some of what my perspective was as a player, knowing my parents saw, 2% of my college games, and that was it. I never played
in person.
Yeah, in person.
Yeah.
And so I never played professionally. So that was it. And so knowing that they could at least, we didn't have YouTube streaming back then, right? I mean, there was no video. So knowing that they could be a part of it in some way, which was through you. So I want to play a little something here. You guys can comment here.
Looks at ball one. Now here's Marshall working quickly. Ground ball, Zappazotti keeps it in front of him. Picks it up, throws a laser beam to first base. And Zappazotti with a great play, backhanded, kept it right in front of him like a good third baseman will. And that'll be the second out of the inning. Outstanding defensive play by Zapp. And finally, a Saint on base. 50. Here's a ground ball to Zappazotti trying to turn it. Again, one high throw to first. They got him. How about that? 5-4-3. They'll turn the double play as Blaharski couldn't get down the line. Great play that time by Zappazotti. And just like that, they'll erase Rob Hemming as Hemming and Blaharski will go down. So 2 down now here in the top of the 5th. And that'll do it. So the Pilots, with a hard-fought win here today, win it 15 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. Boy, I tell you what, for Siena Heights, boy, the bus. Tell you what, get on the bus and warm it up, because I tell you what, the second game, certainly they're going to hope to have with a battle back. Boy, tell you what, you don't see these old-fashioned spankings very often. You know, so.
Okay, yeah, that is, my voice is so young. That's the first thing I noticed right from the get-go is how much my voice has changed. Wow, that really that was eye-opening, quite frankly.
No, that's good stuff. You had Elijah Marshall pitching a shutout there that game, and so some highlights, and I get messages or calls afterwards and saying, yeah, we chatted with Paul and we had a great game. Justin pitched good, and so those kind of connections, it's memories made even when you can't be there, and you were part of that. So yeah. Appreciate that.
Thankful to God put you guys in my life, and thanks to the parents, man. Some of the parents over the years. I mean, like I said, your mom, I've kept in contact with her through Facebook, and there's so many parents over the many years, and that's there's a lot of bad and ornery stuff out there on social media, but man, there's sometimes it can be really a blessing for others. I mean, how many times have we known it? I know in your family, when there's a death in somebody's family and you can just pour out love to people through Facebook, and you understand that dynamic as well as anybody. I love being able to send a private message to someone just to pray with them. Hey, Lord, the Lord put this on my heart. Boom, I'm going to send you a private message, because you're connected that way. I know that when you were playing, you stayed away from that social media stuff a lot. Mm-hmm. And so
I still do, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. You're getting a little bit better. You're getting a little bit better now. I heard the formula. Zap is on it this much, and I'm on half as much as Zap is on. I heard that in the last podcast, so that's good. But I think once again, God puts those things there for a reason. Let's use those things for the glory of the kingdom of God. And if it's being an encouraging person, just send them out. I love the concept of your friend who just sends out a random text message to so-and-so, and just, hey, listen, Lord put you on my heart today, because I've done that a lot too. And you got to do that and take it for what it's worth, because you may not want to hear from that person thinking, well, what does Paul want now? I know, Justin, you'll probably say that. What does Condry want now? And say, but the reality is the Lord put you on my heart. And so that's the reason I sent you that text message. That was a God's divine, and I'm being obedient by sending that text message or that private message or picking up that phone call. It's not like, Justin, I want tickets for this. By the way, I need to get tickets for. Anyways, we'll go. That's a whole nother story.
That's what we got. Yeah, let's go.
I do have a random question for you, Tanya. How is Paul? How is he in the normalcy of life when you're dealing with him? When the frustrations come and you're sitting right there.
I think sometimes he has to. I mean, it's just encouragement. I mean, it's like every human. I mean, sometimes there's encouragement. Sometimes they're grab them and bring them back down to earth, and just love on each other and just make sure we're both in a positive light, going in the right direction.
Yeah. Does he bring a consistency, when he's going about his business? I mean, I know you get to see the realness. So I'm not trying to hate or anything like that. It's just, we're all about authenticity in this world, and not that he hasn't been authentic in anything that he said, but we don't get to spend as much time with him. And so it's always interesting to hear the perspective of, the love of the life.
He's wonderful. He makes me breakfast every morning. He cooks for our entire staff every day for lunch, and just shows Christ's love through his leadership that way.
Now, you guys work together for a long time. Does that ever get a little bit of
A little pushy Chevy once in a while.
little difficulty, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But we all have our realms. I mean, I'm more on the financial side. I'm more on the electronic and technical side, where he's on the more verbal, outspoken, and social section.
Because I'm the person here that doesn't have the college degree. I didn't, so I'm in that role. And so,
you and me both, brother.
but it doesn't mean that we haven't been successful at what we've done. And something we probably didn't talk about today. The thing that I'm probably the most gratifying thing for me at age 69, as I look at all the kids who I coached, not only when I was coaching them in the late 70s, early 80s, but also the kids who have worked for me. Donnie Smith, a perfect example. Donnie's a 2-time national sports information director of the year. Now he's at Jacksonville State as the assistant AD in charge of football operations and doing, and I've got kids at Notre Dame. I've got guys who have technical director of a Super Bowl. I mean, we've got kids who have come through our internship program, and you see how they're flourishing in the world. And I look back on, I'm Dalton Shetler, who's the voice at Michigan State now. Came through my internship and worked for me for 3 years. Took what we taught him, how we beat him up. And I'm relentless in how I coach, because I coach old school stuff, man. You're going to do it this way, and this is the reason you're going to do it, and you're going to like it. And so, but those are the kind of experiences that I want our guys to be able to understand, that God's got me here to teach you and to coach you and to put you in a position to be successful. I have kids who are doing amazing things. Kids have won Emmys. And it's because we coached them up. We loved them up. We put them in a position to be successful. To me, that's far more gratifying than Paul's in this Hall of Fame, Paul's in that Hall of Fame. None of that stuff. That means absolutely. It looks really nice. It's nice. It covers up the wall, that blank spot there on the wall. But the reality of it is there's nothing. I've got text messages I could show you from messages from my kids. And once again, I always call everybody kids. Please don't ever be offended by that. So if one of my kids sends me a text in, I wouldn't be here today without you. What greater thing is that? I have a buddy of mine who worked for me for 4 years. I'm thankful. What was that text that Adam sent me? Something about, I am so thankful that God put me in your life and that your ministry has changed my life. What is better than that? I got no game, man, after that. Seriously.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And so, and Tanya, there were times, and I'll tell you, early on when Regional Radio Sports was born, Tanya made all the money, and I kept dumping money back into it, the company. And then I told you that story about guys stealing everything from us.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that, but that's a whole other story. But it just, she has been everything. If Regional Radio Sports couldn't make the payroll or the Indiana Football Digest, Paul and Tanya Condry would make sure everybody got paid, because she managed our affairs. And there were times that in the early stages of our business where we had to do that. But we know, thank God, and only by God's grace, is that we never missed a payroll. Everybody always got paid, even through all the stuff that we went through. Our guys never once missed getting paid. That's awesome. So God orchestrated all that, but it's because of her saying, okay, well, if we have to take $10,000 out of our bank account to make something happen, she was willing to do that. There's just not a lot of wives and business partners that are willing to do that. And so that's the reason I say she's the love of my life.